Creating custom lobbies for Unity games has never been easier. With Lobby you can create public and private lobbies, go through list of all of the active lobbies and sort them based on game mode, number of players and other custom data you define. You can also easily join other lobbies and play with your friends. I'm again using the project that we created in the netcode for GameObjects tutorial, and we'll start by classic project setup, so we need to go to edit, project settings, go to the services, and we need to make sure that our Unity project is connected to a Unity ID. Then we can go to the package manager to install the lobby package, so hit the plus icon and add package by name. And simply write com.unity.services.lobby. And as always, once you have the package downloaded, you can create new script which will be our lobby manager and put it to some empty object in the scene. So we have the lobby manager, and I have also created a UI where in the first part we are able to create our profile, so input the name. Then in the second screen we can see all of the active lobbies and we can also search through them based on the name. In the third part we can create our own lobby, so input the name, maximum players. We'll also be able to add some password and select the game mode. And after we have joined the lobby, we'll see all of the information about it, as well as the players. And I also have a screen for inputting the password, because some lobbies may require that. But all of the UI that I have created is not necessary, you can make your lobby look however you want. And as always, we'll also need to set up the lobby in the Unity Cloud, so go to your internet browser and search for Unity Cloud. Go to cloud.unity.com and sign in. Once you have selected your project, you can go to the product section. And as you scroll down in the multiplayer section you should find lobby, so you can just hit launch. And there is really nothing more that we need to do, because we have already linked the Unity project, we have already installed the package, and we don't need the sample because we'll create it on our own. And that's all for setup of the lobby, and now we can get to the fun part, which is the coding. And if you are worried about the pricing of lobby, it gives us 10 GB per month of bandwidth for free. And for all of the testing I have done, I have used just 2 MB, so even if you are working on some large game, you will likely not need to pay for lobby. Back to the lobby manager, I have just added 2 variables which are some input fields that we'll need to input the name and the maximum amount of players that can join to the lobby. And as with using any other Unity services, we first need to initialize them, and then we also need to sign in, so in my case I'm just signing anonymously. So I have needed to add those 3 namespaces, and the start function is async, because both of these functions can run asynchronously. This means that they will likely take some time to complete, so we are using the await keyword to make sure that our game never freezes. After we have initialized the Unity services and sign in, we can begin with creating the lobby. Most of the functions that we will need for the lobby is inside either the lobby service class or inside the lobbies class, so for this we need to add Unity services.lobbies namespace. Then from this class we can grab instance as usual, because it is a singleton, and then we have many functions that we can use. So in this case we can just create lobby async and pass in the lobby name and the maximum amount of players. First I'm getting the maximum amount of players that can join the lobby, so for this we just need to parse it as a int, so I'm taking it from the create lobby max players, which is the input field. Then I'm also storing the current lobby that we have created inside a variable, and to use the variable of type lobby, we need to add Unity services lobbies.models. After that, whenever you are calling some function where something can go wrong, it is a good practice to wrap it inside a try and catch. In this case, we are just creating the lobby, so we need to input the name and the maximum amount of players, and you can see that it also takes in quite useful parameter, which is the create lobby options. Into the options class we can pass our own custom data, so for example what is the game mode of the lobby, what is the amount of teams that can play in the lobby, which team the player that has currently joined is in, what is the name of the player, and so on. But we'll worry about the additional options later. For now I have just created a public string where we will be able to see the joined lobby ID, and I'm just setting it based on the ID of the lobby that we have created. In Unity, I will just set up all of the variables and make sure that when we press the create button, it actually starts the function to create the lobby. So I'm calling the new lobby my lobby, and I'm inputting maximum amount of players of amount 5, and when we hit create it's going to take some time, and we can see that it generated the joint lobby ID. After we create the lobby, we probably want to be able to see a list of all of the active lobbies, so let's do that. I have added 2 GameObject variables, one is for the lobby creation parent, and another one is for the lobby list parent, so that we can easily switch between those 2 UI screens. I have also added a function which is going to get triggered when we press the X button, which should close the creation lobby window, so that's what I'm doing here. And as we are opening the list of all of the active lobbies, I'm calling the function to show lobbies, which is going to constantly be updating and checking if there are any new lobbies. In this case, it will just display them to us. We only want to be running this function if the game is playing and the lobby list parent is active, and we want to run it every second, as the documentation of the rate limits is saying. So what we want to do is to query for lobbies, which will actually get us a list of all of the active lobbies, and this one should be done just once per second. To get all of the active lobbies is pretty simple. We can just call the function query lobbies async, into which we can also pass in some query lobbies options, and we can just store this as the query response, which as you can see is containing the results, which is just a list of lobbies. And what I'm doing in this case is that in Unity I have just a simple scroll rect, which is holding some lobby items that I can easily add and remove. So on the start of the function, we want to remove all of the lobby objects, and then we can just instantiate them, and later we'll also set the lobby name and all of this information. We can try creating the lobby. As I press the X icon, I should be able to go into the list of all of the lobbies, and we can see that one of them is here. Currently, it's not showing the lobby name and even the amount of players that are currently inside of the lobby, so let's fix that. As we are spawning those new lobby items, we can just easily get its children, access the corresponding text, and I'm setting the lobby name just to the lobby.name, and then I'm setting the text with the current players count and the maximum players count. As I created the lobby, we should see that I call the lobby my lobby, and currently there is just one player joined, which is me, because I'm hosting the lobby, out of maximum 5 players. But one thing that is now going to happen is that if we wait longer than 30 seconds, the lobby is going to disappear, because we are not telling the lobby service that the lobby should still exist. And yep, we can see that after about 30 seconds the lobby disappeared, so for this we need to call the heartbeat function to tell the lobby service that the lobby should still be active. So after we have created the lobby, I'm calling the function lobby heartbeat and inputting the lobby that we have created. And then on the lobby ID, we can call the function send heartbeat ping async. And because the lobby will automatically get deactivated after 30 seconds, I'm calling this function every 15 seconds. As we are successfully creating the lobby and keeping it alive, the next part will be joining it. I have created a new script join lobby button, which will be on each of the lobby items, and it will be holding ID of the lobby and the password if we need it. So each of the lobby items is acting also as a button, and when we press it, we are calling the function in the join lobby button. And when we press it, we will want to call some function in the lobby manager, which will decide whenever we should input the password and whenever we have successfully joined into the lobby. I have made the lobby manager class a singleton, so that then we can easily access it in each of the join lobby buttons. So we have a public static instance for the lobby manager, and in its start I'm just setting it to this. I have also created a function join lobby, which is taking in a string for the lobby ID and a boolean if we need password to join. We'll handle the passwords later. For now we are just joining the lobby by ID. And as you can see, it's pretty simple, just access the lobby service and call the function join lobby by ID async and pass in the lobby ID. And when we press the join lobby button, so go back to the script, I'm just calling the join lobby function on the lobby manager and passing it all of the data that it needs. And then in the lobby manager, when we are instantiating all of these lobby items, we'll need to set the lobby ID. So in the function show lobbies, as we are creating the new lobby item, I'm also getting the join lobby button component from it, setting the ID to the ID of the lobby, and setting if we need the password. I've also created a build of the game, so in the editor, I can just create new lobby, we can see that it was created and just one player is connected, and if I go to the other instance of this game, in the lobby list, yep, we can see the lobby, that's correct, and if I click on it, we should be able to join, and yep, we can see there are now 2 players joined in the same lobby. So this is the bare bones setup that is showing you how we can create a lobby, how we can keep the lobby alive, and how we can simply join other players into it. And next, we'll take a look at how we can share some player data across the lobby, so that once we join it, we can actually see names of all of the other players and some additional data that we define. For this, we should have this simple screen that should show up as soon as we start the game, where you can actually define the name and maybe other details if you want. To be able to set up the profile, I have created a parent, which is a game object, so that we can just turn the whole screen on, and then we have the input field so we can input the name. And then as we click the button to create the profile, I'm saving the name into a variable, just in case. And then I'm creating new player data, which I'm also saving into a variable, the type is just player. And inside of the player, as you can see, we can store ID, some connection info, the most important thing, which is a dictionary of some data, then some allocation ID, the time when we have joined, and so on. So when creating the player, I'm just inputting the ID, taking it from the authentication service. And then the important part is where we can actually set our own custom data. All of the data is being held in a dictionary, which is taking a key as a string, and a value is player data object. So up here I'm creating those player data objects. The first one is for name of the player, and the second one is for the team in which the player currently is. So the string in the dictionary is just a key for how the variable should be named. So the first one for me is name, the second variable is a team, and inside of these player data objects we can actually define the value. You can see that when creating the player data object we can also define the visibility, if it should be member, private or public, so in my case I'm just making it all public. And then just the value, so the player name is just the player name that we have gotten from the input field, and the team for me is just A on the start. So now we have a variable which is holding all of the player data, and when joining or creating the lobby we can just pass it in. So in the join lobby function, when we are inputting the lobby ID to actually join the lobby, we can also input the join lobby by ID options, which as you can see can be holding the player, so I'm just inputting the player data of the player that is trying to join, and later we'll also use the password property. And then in the create lobby function, when we are using the function create lobby async, we are passing in the name of the lobby, the maximum amount of players, and we can also pass in create lobby options, so I'm just creating that, where we can define if it is a private, so I'm just in case saying that it is a false, and we can also define the player, so again I'm defining this to the player data. So at this point the lobby should have all of the relevant information about the user, so back in Unity as I have this joined lobby section, we just need to show it all correctly to the player, so I have done something similar to the lobby list, so I have a player item that I can drag under the viewport, and we can see that we can define the name for each player, the team, and we can also define if it is the user or owner of the lobby. So for the join lobby section I have defined few more variables. One is for the parent so that we can set it to active or inactive. Then we have a prefab for the player item. Then we have a transform for the player list where we will be storing all of the player items. And a text where we will just display name of the lobby into which we have joined. Then we have the function update lobby info, which is actually going to show us all of the players and the name of the lobby. So first we need to make sure that we have actually joined into a lobby. Then on the lobbies I'm calling the function getLobbyAsync, which is just going to get us the actual information of the lobby. Then based on the name of the lobby in which we currently are joined, we can just set the text. And then we have a similar scenario as with the list of all of the lobbies. I'm just going through the player list parent and destroying all of the objects. And then we can just go through all of the players which are currently in the lobby and then instantiate new objects for them. Then I'm accessing the texts which I have under the player item, so the first one is for the name. To access the name, we can just grab the data from the player at the index of name and just grab its value. The same way I'm setting the team in which the player currently is, and then I'm checking if he is the owner or user based on if the host ID is the same as the player ID. And I'm calling the update lobby info function whenever we should enter the lobby, so when we are either creating it or when we are just joining it. Again, I have made a build of the game, so in here we can just give some name to the profile, hit create, then we can create new lobby, create, and we can see that we have appeared in the lobby. The name is Marek's lobby, I'm the only person who is currently connected, I'm in the team A, and we can see that I'm owner of this lobby. If I go to the Unity editor, again I can give some name to my profile. Now in the list of the lobbies, we can see the Marek's lobby, which I've created in the build, so we can try to join in. And yep, we can see that we are in the same lobby. I can see Marek, which is the user in the build, and Freedom Coding, which is user running in the editor. This one is just a user, and this one is a owner. So you can see that storing players' data in the lobby is quite simple, and you can store there really anything you want. Now we'll just quickly take a look at how we can update the player data. So for example, we can change the team. So in the switch player team button function, I'm just checking if the current team is the team A. If it is, I'm setting it to B, otherwise I'm setting it back to A. And then because we have already created the player data, we can just update it on the lobbies. So we are inputting the ID of the lobby in which we are currently joined, the ID of the player, and then the update player options, which again is containing a dictionary of string and player data object. So for the team, I'm just changing it to the new value that we should get. And then it is also important to update the value in the player data, which is my local variable that I have here. so that we make sure that we have updated it everywhere. So again, I'm creating new lobby. We can see that I'm in the team A, and if I do switch team, yep, I'm in team B, I'm in team A, yep, so this is working correctly. Next, we'll take a look at how we can store some information relative to the lobby, such as the team mode, which in my case can be a deathmatch, team deathmatch, capture the flag, but really you can use it for any other settings related to the lobby you want. And setting some data for the lobby is really the same as setting it for the player, because you can see that when we are creating the lobby, it is taking in the create lobby options, into which we can also pass in some custom data, which again is a dictionary of type string and the data object. For now, I'm using just the game mode, so I'm creating the data object, and I'm taking the value from the create lobby game mode dropdown. So really this is the same as passing some custom data to the player. And then when we are showing a list of all of the lobbies, we can easily set the text which will be indicating which game mode we are now in, so we can again go to the lobby, access the data, add the key of game mode and grab its value. And I'm doing the same thing when we are updating info of the lobby, so we are setting the name and then we can easily set the text of the game mode. So we can set the mode of the lobby, let's say to the capture the flag, hit create, and here we can see that the lobby is named my lobby and the game mode is capture the flag. Next, we'll also take a look at how we can add some password protection for our lobbies, for which I also have a screen like this. Again, I needed to add few variables for the password protection, including the button, the password field and the parent. I've also created a synchronous function input password, which is going to wait until we input the password. And back in the join lobby function, if we need a password which is stored in the join lobby button, then we are using the same function as if we don't need it. So join lobby by ID async, we are passing in the ID of the lobby, then we are passing in the join lobby by ID options, into which we can pass in the player, but we are also awaiting the input password, so it's going to wait until we input it. So now we have a way to actually receive the password from the user, but we still have no way to input it. So this will be happening in the create lobby, where we have this private checkbox that we can tick, and if we tick it, it should show us a text field where we will be able to input the password. I have added this simple function, which when we press the toggle, it should either enable or disable the input field for the password. And setting the password to the lobby is really simple, so in the function create lobby, I'm just checking if we actually want to input some password. If we want, then we can just do options.password and set in the password from the input field. It is really that simple. And now as I'm creating the lobby, I can again set the game mode, and if I say that I want it to be private, I can import the password, which should be minimum 8 characters. So we have a really hard password we can try to create. So we see the lobby, we can try to join, but we can see that it wants a password from us. And once the password is matching and we hit join, it should, yes, connect us into the same lobby. And there are two last things that I want to show you. The first one is how to filter through the lobbies. So you can either search the name of the lobby, or you can just select which game mode of the lobby it should be, how many players there should be, or how many free spaces there should be, and so on. I have created a variable for the input field where we can actually search for the name of the lobby, and then in the function when we are showing all of the lobbies, we can use query lobbies options, which as you can see we can also pass into the query lobbies async function. So I'm just creating that class, and this is containing a list of filters, so I'm also creating that. Then I'm checking if we are actually trying to search for something. In case we are, then we can add a filter. In my case, I'm checking for the name, but we can also search for lobbies that have some available slots, that have some password, that are locked. Then the value with which we want to compare it, so for me it is the input field, and then we have a bunch of options, so we can check if the name either contains the text that we write, or if it is equal, greater than equal, and so on. So filtering through the lobbies is also quite simple. I've created two lobbies that you can see here, and if I search for, let's say, test, it is showing me only the testing lobby. If I search for lobby, it is showing me only the my lobby, and so on. So like this, you can search through hundreds of lobbies. And the last thing that we'll take a look at, which I think is the most important one, is how we can make the host be able to start the game, which is going to start a relay, and also join all of the other users which are in the same lobby to the same relay. As you may have noticed, in the joined lobby I have the button to start the game, and I want this to show only to the host, so I have created a variable for it. In the update lobby function, I am checking if the ID of the player is equal to the host ID. If this is true, then we can just enable the server, so that only the host can see it, but for all of the other users we can disable it. The way that I will be sharing the join code between the users is again through setting some of the lobby data. So I'm creating new data object in the function createLobby, into which I'm just inputting string.empty, because as we create the lobby there probably shouldn't be any join code, and then I'm just adding this to the dictionary of the data in the options of the lobby. So we have the join code here, and back in the update lobby function, we want the users to be constantly checking if the join code is still equal to null. If it is not, then they should join a relay with this code. So now we are in the update lobby info function. I've also created a boolean to know if we are connected or not, and then I'm checking if we are not joined and the join code is not equal to null. Then I'm accessing the relay manager, for which I have made a function, and the code is the same that we have been creating in the last tutorial. So we have the function to start the host with relay and start the client with relay. So in case that there is already some join code, we can just start the client with relay and return from the function. And then we also need the lobby start function, which only the host of the lobby is going to be able to call. So first we are accessing the lobby, then we are again getting a reference for the relay manager, where we are starting a host with relay and inputting the maximum amount of players for the lobby. This means that we are joined, and in order for the other players to receive the correct join code, we also need to update the lobby async. So here we are just inputting the new join code that the relay manager has generated for us. And now if with one of the users I create the lobby, we can see that I can still see the start button because I am the owner, and on the second user, if I join the lobby, I can't see the start button because I'm not the owner. So we can try pressing the start button. You can see that it takes a while, but it creates the relay, and the second client connects just within few seconds. In this video we have written quite a lot of code, but Lobby is still a really simple tool. It has tons of functionality and you can really play with it and make the perfect lobby for your game. And don't worry if you missed something about the code in this video, I will be posting the project files in the description. I hope this video was useful and you can be looking forward to the next one, which will be about leaderboards. If you have any questions or suggestions, drop them down to the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in next videos. Bye! Thanks for watching this video till the end. If you are looking for a Unity, C# or Bolt tutor, then I am here for you, so feel free to send me a message to my Gmail and take a look at my website for more info. I can help you with your personal projects or teach you anything about game development you would want to know. You are welcome.